Hey everyone, so following on from my last video, I want to show you the last step here in this multi-step Zap that we had with ChatGPT and the rest of the setup. So essentially what I've got here, in the previous video I started this deal tracker, and I want to have all the new deals be added as a row, as a new row in this Google Sheet. So all the new deals coming through HubSpot and PandaDoc will be automatically added here as a row. So you can see here these simple sort of rows with information about the HubSpot deal and the PandaDoc information. I've added this new column here that wasn't in the original one from the previous video that I went through. And this is going to be our PandaDoc ID that we're going to use as a reference later for going through and referring to this detail. In order to get this PandaDoc ID, we've got to add it in as our last step in the Zap here. So this is the long Zap that we just did in the last video. And there's one last step we've got to add in here. And we're going to add in the Google Doc like this. Google Sheet, sorry, the Google Sheet. So we just type in Google Sheets. And we're going to select row, update row. So let's type in that. Update spreadsheet row, like so. And we do that like that. We've got our account. And then we can select the Google Sheet we want to use. So we use the one that we just looked at. Example, the deal tracker, sheet 1 for our worksheet. And then we have our row. Now, we could select one of these rows. Obviously, we don't know which row it's going to be. It's always going to change depending on the PandaDoc and the deal that we're talking about here. So we actually need to find the appropriate row. We don't know, so we'll need to add a search step like this. So we're going to add a search step that comes before this, and then that's going to then populate the update row sheet. So we have our lookup spreadsheet row step, adding in before that. We select again, we just go through, we select our Google Sheet that we want to use, like this, our worksheet, sheet 1, like that. And then we just go to our lookup column. We're going to use the deal ID, which is our unique value. So we know that that's the specific information we want to be using here. And we're going to then use the updated deal stage deal ID information that's there, like this. We select that, and then we can ignore the rest of it. The rest of it is fine like it is, so we can leave that, and we can do a test. Okay, now it's found it in row 4. And then we go to our next step here, our update row, action, and it's automatically added this search step result in here. So it's got this ID 4, and this will obviously change each time we run the Zap. And now we want to update this. We're aiming to update this to get our PandaDoc ID. That's the most important thing we want to add in here. And so we're going to pull that in from our PandaDoc step 17. And we've got our ID, which is all this letters and numbers like that. And then we can also add in other information if we wanted to. If there's other details that we're adding into this document that we want to track in our spreadsheet, we could also do that here. If we go back to our sheet, we can see here like this. We could add in more columns if we wanted to. Like, let's say we wanted to add in the PandaDoc status, which I've created here for a later Zap. And so we're going to add our PandaDoc ID and our PandaDoc status like that for this particular deal. So let's jump back to the Zap. And we've got our PandaDoc ID, we've just gone through, and then let's get to the PandaDoc status like that. And we can find that again also in PandaDoc. And we can see, let's see the status, here it is, document draft. Let's put that in there as well. We can go continue and we can test. And then let's jump back to the spreadsheet. Great, now we have our PandaDoc ID and we have our PandaDoc status like that. Okay, great. And then the next Zap, which I'll quickly show you, is this one here. So basically what we want to do, now that we've got our detail in the Google Sheet, we also want it to automatically update depending on the change of status in PandaDoc. So in this case, we're going to just do a very simple update. So if the PandaDoc status changes so that now we know that, like, for example, someone has signed the document's completed, then we can update that here. So it's the same kind of thing. So we select for our trigger step, PandaDoc. We're going to say the event is document status changed. We select our account. We go to trigger, and we've selected this particular template because I don't want this to trigger for every single PandaDoc. I just want it for every single PandaDoc document. I only want it to run for this sample sales proposal template. So I'm saying source template, and then I'm selecting the template sample sales proposal. Click continue. I've done a test and I've got a document here, which is the one we just went through. Now I can do a lookup. So we can say Google Sheets, and then the trigger is look up Spreadsheet Row. We've got our Google Sheets account. We've got our spreadsheet that we're talking about here, sheet 1. The lookup column is the PandaDoc ID, and then this code, that's our ID number, so that we can find the details, which sheet we're talking about here. And we can delete that supporting lookup value. That's not necessary. We've got the main lookup value here, and the rest we can leave as is. Let's test that step. Cool. So we've got our document again, row 4 again, and then we can go in and update the status. So let's go to our document here. Here's our proposal. Let's imagine that someone has now agreed to this document. So I'm going to grab the code. I'm going to grab the share link like this. So we're going to quickly sign this. Okay, and now that is signed and it looks like it's completed. So let's go back to our PandaDoc. Let's go through, quickly trigger this again. Find new records. We pull that latest record in here. Looks like it's this one. We found the spreadsheet already. We'll just skip that because we just did that step. And now we're going to update this row. So let's select update row, continue, and we select the sheet again. And then we need our row. So we're going to pull that in from the previous step like this. ID number for the row. And now the important thing we've got to update here. We've got the ID, we've got these details. We're going to update the PandaDoc status. We could also update other elements, like maybe the details of the document changed, the pricing, the person, or whatever. You could pull that detail in here as well, but we'll just keep this video simple. Let's do a quick search to find the status. There we go. So we've got status completed. So that's come through, and then we can click continue. And let's have a look at the sheet before we click test. Let's see. So we've got the PDF document draft. Let me move this over here like that. So let's go document draft. So let's test the Zap. Cool. And now it looks like it's worked. So we've got our completed PandaDoc status, just like that. And then obviously we just need to turn this on, and then we're all set. So in the next video, I'm going to go through an overview of all of this. And I've kind of pieced together a flow of each of the Zaps that I built and how it all flows through. When we have a new deal, when the deal, this is in order to update the Google Sheet tracker, the deal tracker. We've got our new deal. We've got our deal stage changes. We've got our deal 1 or deal almost 1 sent through, waiting for the signing of the proposal, and then PandaDoc updating. I'm going to tie all that together, and I'll show more of that in the next video. But in this video today, we've gone through how to add in the step at the end. So the Google Sheets is updated with the ID details of the PandaDoc. So we have that reference so that we can then see which deal in HubSpot is related to which PandaDoc status, which PandaDoc document, like this. So these two IDs are tied together, and we have that reference. And then I also went through and showed you how we can update whenever a change happens in PandaDoc. That will then also update for the status, the row in Google Sheets as well. So that's what we've gone through today. Give that a shot. Remember to publish, turn it on, test the Zaps live when you're doing it. If this has been useful for you, please feel free to subscribe so you get more content like this about HubSpot, Zapier, PandaDoc. And if this video has been useful as well, feel free to like the video, comment any questions. I'd love to help people more with this. And otherwise, look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers.